thanks so much for coming on as a supporter for this little critique series. That's really helpful, and it's going to be a fun collaboration for sure. So I guess just to start out, do you want to sort of tell me a bit about yourself and how you got into printing?
It all started at an early age. I loved drawing, realised I couldn't draw. So found a camera, realised I could do what I wanted with a camera rather than a pen. At the time, I couldn't afford a laptop or a DSLR, and there was a local shop, a local sort of camera shop that essentially just gave me rolls of film for like cheap, if not free. Basically supported a budding creative. And from there I learned to print. So I've been printing for, since about the age of 15, 16. Been shooting film for about that long as well. And it then got to a point where, started to pursue education, went down the education route, wanted to be a teacher, or a lecturer, sort of FEHE. And as with all journeys, you're on a path and you wanting to go from A to B, and to get from A to B, it's not linear, as I'm sure, you're very aware. So there's little things here and there, and over the course of where I am now, certain things have cropped up, like, so I started sort of printing commercially, if you will. I say commercially, friends and family, in the, sort of traditional printing. And then it kind of progressed to friends of friends. And then it was like, well, hang about, I seem
There's
to
something
be,
here.
yeah, there's something there. So me and my partner set up Rabbit Hole Studios, which was a studio dark room in the local mill space. But at the same time, we just kind of went gung-ho, and Rabbit Hole Studios sort of split a very commercial element and a very creative element.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, Rabbit Hole Studios is now our interior photography, sort of commercial business practice. And sort of Hatter Editions was born, and so that is how Hatter Editions came to be.
I didn't realize that the name Hatter Editions, obviously Mad Hatter, but I didn't realize that came out of the association with Rabbit Hole.
Yeah,
right.
Okay, but also the idea was to tip a hat, pardon the pun, to Stockport, which was essentially, the hatting industry of the UK, of the Industrial Revolution. So there's so many different layers to the name Hatter Editions. It's and for a long period of my time, I would be recognisable from the flat cap that I wear. Which.
Let me jump in here really quick and just ask, if you are enjoying the videos, then please do like, comment, and subscribe. Really helps to support the channel. Thanks so much. Let's get right back to it. So for you, it really started with film and in the darkroom.
Yeah, black and white, film, dark room.
And that sort of like classic moment where you see the print in the developer.
Oh,
you had one of those moments?
I think I still have them now. Do you know what I mean? Whether it be silver gelatin, the cyanotype, the platinum palladium, no matter the cali type, no matter what the process is, that moment when you see it come to life, it's, you still get your kicks from it. Even if you're not as, wow, you're still like, there's a level of satisfaction.
So how did that then translate into like inkjet and sort of the more modern styles of printing that you do now?
So,
On top of obviously you still do traditional, but
that sort of methodology that you sort of gain in the darkroom, that's followed through into the inkjet printing. So for better or for worse, for example, every single file that comes my way,
mm-hmm.
I will check, double check sizing. I will check, I'll make sure that, I will soft proof it. I will then reach out to the client and make sure they're happy with, It's that definitely quality over quantity. I'm not about mass producing,
Mm-hmm.
knocking out prints. I'm all about making that one print marvelous, making sure it comes out as the client wants it.
The thing that I've noticed is sort of, or the link maybe that I've seen is like that sort of handmade aspect from traditional darkroom maybe translates into how you work with inkjet now. Like each print's in a way handmade because you're going to that nth degree to get it to the highest quality, as well as your appreciation of sort of archival qualities in the darkroom. I see that's also sort of brought over with the use of pigment inks and high quality papers.
There's definitely like a degree of that. Like my sort of workflow in silver gelatin was an archival one, fibre based, selenium tone, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what's the point in making something if it's not going to, sort of last a while? And trying to find that perfect paper that's OBA free, that's totally sort of archival,
Yeah.
And sometimes you can chase, the sort of a myth or a legend, but I think now I've found quite a roster of very nice, very archival papers. And yeah, again, with that sort of handmade aspect. So it's a way of, I guess, getting stuck in, getting my hands dirty without, so even though I'm not in the chemicals, I'm not producing that print from a negative, it's still a case of, well, if I was going to a printer's, how would I want my digital files to be treated? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, every other printer out there doesn't give TLC, doesn't give that time and care. But I know for a fact that I will give like 110%. And it's probably really bad business sense because of the sort of time it takes to, check these files over and make sure it's spot on. But do you know what? I don't care because, I want to make stuff for people that I'm proud of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would say most like sort of more commercial or commercially minded print shops probably follow something sort of like the 80-20 rule, right? Where 20% of the effort gives you 80% of the results. And it takes a hell of a lot more work to get that 100% quality. But I think it's, as you sort of said, it's definitely worth it, in our opinion. If I can speak for you there, but
thank you. But yeah, no, it isn't. It's just like it's about going that extra mile, whether it is just a simple case of, I don't know, just getting that soft proof, doing a hard proof if it looks like it's going to be a bit of a odd file, just getting it sorted. And I've worked in commercial printers, and it is a case of, getting it done, getting it out, and that's fine. That's the nature of that business, and it's just not the path that I personally want to pursue because of, as we've sort of come from, the darkroom, the handcrafted, some things take time and they're better for it, whether that be wine, cheese, or prints. You know what I mean?
And I mean, I guess that's why you still offer traditional stuff, so that people who want that handmade, high quality traditional print can still get it.
Yeah, not many people, there's not a huge market for it because most people who want it do it themselves, and that's cool, but it is there, it is on offer, and,
I guess there's probably, a good generation, like a generation of photographers now that maybe don't have their own darkrooms that are getting back into shooting film, like sort of our age. There's quite a big film movement, and I doubt many of them have full-on darkrooms. Hopefully, they'll be transitioning that interest in just shooting film to also getting darkroom prints at some point.
Yeah, certainly, because I think there's a big issue with photography in general, whether it be digital film or any sort of variation thereof at present, and that is most people are shooting, they're only shooting for social media, and it's like they're only shooting for an online portfolio. They will never ever see that image in print, and it's like, and as you know yourself, it takes on a totally different, wild, uniquely sort of other dimension when it's printed. It's, for a good example is, I've been putting off, I took an image on holiday a couple of years, last year maybe, beautiful light, that sort of burning sunset, blah blah blah, little buttercups, and it's just a mint shot, but I thought, ooh, it's a bit not me, it's a bit kitschy, it's a bit colourful, it's a bit, ooh. And I printed it couple of weeks ago. Made a little print for my grandma. There you go. But I printed it on the Animule fibre-based satin, or I think Barita satin. And that image and that paper on, just the marriage of them two, it was phenomenal. And you know what? It's made me sort of just totally and utterly reevaluate that kind of image making, that kind of photography. It's mad how one print can do that.
It's a really good point that most of the time nowadays people aren't making images for print or with the final print in mind. As you say, it's for social media, and that tends to lead to a certain kind of image making where it's got to be either, a giant foreground with an ultra wide lens or something like that, or really colorful, or some sort of epic conditions or view, right? Whereas if you make images for prints, those sort of things are not necessarily secondary, but you do have a different mindset going into it.
Yeah, when you're making an image for print, most of what I shoot, even though it's seen on Instagram and it's seen here, it's shot for a particular paper in mind. So there's always, whether it ever gets printed on that piece of paper, but it's shot and it's edited for, with a particular paper, or at least a particular aesthetic of paper in mind. And then you've got to start taking into consideration things like your paper's white point. Is it bright white? Is it sort of off white? Is it quite warm? Is it natural? Textures, is it smooth? Is it textured? How heavy is the texture? How is that going to impact the print? What's it going to do to the print? So
Matte, satin, glossy, Barita,
there's so much going on. All these little considerations, and that is why. And again, that whole idea of putting in 110%. I've done it before now, where a client's gone, oh yeah, I really want this on, I don't know, German etching, let's say, Hahnemuhle German etching. And I've looked at the image and I've kind of gone, it's not going to work. Well, it will work because it's a beautiful paper and it's a beautiful image. But we can make that better through a collaborative process between myself and the client. We can make that a better image by putting it on maybe a slightly heavier textured paper to bring out them, subtle nuances. Yeah. Going back to sort of what we were saying earlier as well, I'm all about the collaborative process. It's not just me as a printer, you as a photographer or an image maker of whatever images you make. I want it to be, we work in tandem, you know what I mean? And that's what ours is about.
Brilliant. My sort of last question is, I guess, about the image critiquing. What sort of, I guess, for want of a better word, level of photographer would you say you are? And what are you looking to get out from this experience, this process?
Yeah, I'm just it's a difficult one, that, because I'd say that I'm always learning, I'm always expanding. So, I'll definitely say that I'm not an expert. I'm just not, because to be an expert, you need to stop learning. Do you know what I mean? You need to know everything on your particular field, and I just, I don't, so I'm not an expert. I'd say definitely not apprentice, maybe journeyman,
Okay.
Yeah.
You've put in a good few years studying, but I like the approach of just sort of continually trying to improve.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not the best, and I think one of the ones that I sent you for the critique will definitely show that. But I love the image, and it's for me, it's a mint image. So you've got that essence of the amateur in there as well. That's a snapshot, but I love that. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why, and people shouldn't be disheartened by that, because there's beauty in not being an expert. There's beauty in making mistakes. There's beauty in just taking a photo of a moment, whether you're on holiday or you're out and about or whatever. Say the light's just perfect. Snap it. Just get it snapped, because but then print it. Don't just keep it on your phone or your computer. But it's because photography is, if it can do one thing, it can do this. It takes a snapshot at whatever fraction of a second that, it's got a better memory than your memory, and it can evoke, a sense of time, place, emotion, etc. So keep on keeping on, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So you would say you make images for yourself and only yourself, or mainly for yourself, I suppose?
Mainly make images for myself, because going back full circle, the reason why I picked up a camera was because I couldn't draw. So it's still that kind of way of thinking, that way of doing is, I'm doing this for me because it's a means of expression. It's a means of getting sometimes what's in here and what's in here onto paper without having to draw. A lot of what I do is sort of on a personal level, it's well crafted snapshots. Do you know what I mean? Of time and place. Yeah. But also, I do a lot of work with the sort of my local area, Stockport, which that is just pure documentation. It's documentation and a means of communicating my thoughts and feelings of the space.
Mm-hmm. Are you a big fan of William Eggleston?
Am I a big fan of William Eggleston? I've fallen out of love with photographers. When I first came across his work, I was like, wow. And then I kind of grew as a sort of practitioner and a sort of critic, if you will. And I then didn't enjoy his work. I saw the pit holes in it. And now, as I'm kind of, again, full circle, it's a case of, do you know what? I do enjoy his work. I particularly enjoy the more sort of minimalist, huge colours.
A lot of the things that you were just talking about for me remind me of his book, The Democratic Forest, which he sort of takes a viewpoint of like, again, there's beauty everywhere, and you should look for that beauty in everything, not just in whether that's, just going out to completely remote wild places. For him, it's everything is a photograph, basically.
Yeah, everything should be photographed, and you should critique everything. You should be critical about everything that you're photographing, whether it be landscapes or, street photography. Always be thinking, always be critiquing, and critique yourself. And that's why what you're doing at the moment is mint. I know it's sort of very specialist, it's very, black and white landscape photography, but it's great because it's pushing people to get the work critiqued and, just constructive criticism is one of the best ways of learning. It's when I was at uni, I used to love sort of critiques. Just nobody ever tore mine apart. It was like, no, I want you to be ruthless, go for it, absolutely. Strip it to pieces, because just do it constructively. And, we'll be grand, but,
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole concept sort of comes out of like, there isn't a great place at the moment for anyone to go and get proper feedback. Like, you go on Instagram and it's just emoji reacts and nice shot, dude, and that sort of stuff. Which obviously that sort of fits the platform. It's not built for longer format idea sharing. So this was kind of the concept, was like, YouTube does allow for that, so I'm going to create that space for people to be able to come and get a second pair of eyes on their work. Cool, man. I think that was good chat. One more thing before we go. Could you just tell everyone watching where they can find you, find more about you, maybe your socials and your website?
Yeah, of course. So the website is www.lewis hattereditions.com, and socials, which is mainly just Instagram, is at Hatter Editions.
Cool. I'll make sure to put all that in the description below the YouTube video. And yeah, I think that's everything. Cool. Cheers, man. Have a good day. Good to chat.
And you, as always.
See ya.
Bye for now.